Hey there, Russell traders. David here of TradingFibs.com to bring you the daily Russell recap for June 3rd, 2013. We're in contract expiration month and the first day of trading. Starting out by looking at the four major indices. Upper left here, looking at the ES. A lot of action, very similar on all the indices, as price action pretty much stayed within the first 25-minute open range, attempted to break out, but after about post 1 hour we took a drop, as well as on the YM. NQ started to lead the way with a drop outside the 25-minute open range, as well as the Russell breaking through from a breakout above and through the 25-minute open range to only pretty much chop its way sideways for the majority of the day and then break up through the range and offer a trading opportunity with 5 minutes to close. Best trading opportunity of the day on the Russell was if you are inside the range trader on EMA crossover. Could have been a nice trade here. Momentum outside the range was approximately post 1.5 hours of the market open, and then if you traded on the EMA crossover on two charts, which I'll show you later, you could have rode this all the way up to the close and just close above 25-minute open range. My trading method is to only take moves outside the range, though at times I've been known to take some inside the range just to test out some theories, but really nice move here today. I will go over that with you. Our market internals, for the most part, for the first half of the day was pretty much in the red. Ticks attempting to climb over zero, pretty much settling under zero. As you can see, the red triangles down here at the bottom signifying that price was down in the red. Market internals started with a nice climb for the day up to 900, but settled back down under zero, which brought price down, which coincides with that market entry under the 25-minute open range on the TF. As well as market breadth was pretty much flat ratio, 1-to-1, 2-to-1, not much grabbing until the very end, which offered you that little climb out through the 25-minute open range with 5 minutes to go. So again, by market internals, which led for a nice entry underneath the 25-minute open range, coincide around the post 1.5 hours, 8 o'clock Pacific Coast time for that entry, and all in the red. Market internals were mixed for about the first hour. Had green light on the tick, red light on the market advanced decliners, was one in the green, then a red, so a little bit all over the place until we had all in the red leading down. I went ahead and added two charts here to the right hand side. This is the 4 EMA consisting of 5, 13, 21, and 80, as well as the lower one. I separated the Camarilla pivots from the daily pivots so they can stand out a little bit more clear. So 6 charts in total here. Upper left, I have the 25-minute open range on a 5-minute bar chart. I have a 10-tick range chart with Heikin Ashi. I have a 10-tick Heikin Ashi with the 4 EMA. Here I have daily pivot and resistance lines with the daily gap. This is post 1 hour open range on the bottom middle, and the 1 hour open range here, as well as the Russell Camarilla pivots in the lower right hand corner. Let's go ahead and take a look at where the trading opportunity was today. If we will open up the 25-minute open range again, our weekly pivot was hit from the open, which on a Heikin Ashi bar on our market open was a nice gap up, brought it back down, and once the 25-minute open range was set up. So right here within that first 25 minutes, we hit the weekly pivot, came back down, and then another drive up to the fib line. Daily fib line, 50% really held the day, 61.8 right up above here. We had several lines of resistance, a quad of resistance, bigger pictures. We had the smaller daily resistance as well as other resistance lines, but there was a formidable fence that if we did break upside, we'd be looking for contracts off up there. But price never rose up there, with market internals turning around to the red. As you can see here, we had a nice climb up, but then market internals really started turning down. Market breadth was pretty much flat. So it was my AD line that was coming below. We were at negative 900, which started to indicate some selling off here. Take a look at the Heikin Ashi again from the market open in 6:30 Pacific Coast time. A lot of chopping action. Again, these nice red tails. Anytime you have an EMA crossover, if that's just your trading method, you can just play the crossovers. Tend to get chopped up a lot, but here we have some solid selling, some solid buying, 25-minute open range until you had a nice climb up right through the zone here, coming all the way up to the weekly pivot and Fibonacci line. 1 hour open range setting up eventually at the high of 993.10 and the low of 979.3. Had a crossover inside the range here, approximately post 1 hour of the market open, for some continuous selling all the way down to the 25-minute open range low. Waiting for a setup to break down below here never occurred. As you can see, we had a little chopping action. The EMA never crossed over, so again, this would have been a legitimate trade to ride all the way down from 988 to about 975, which pretty healthy amount of ticks there. I didn't take an entry until the 25-minute open range was broken, so let's line this up here. So my first entry I'm looking at is right here on the bar. The 8 o'clock bar starts to, with market internals is in the red. I'm watching all 3 tick, AD line, market breadth, all in the red. I break my 25-minute open range down, so lining that up with my Heikin Ashi bar. We start to see selling coming in here. I know that my 1 hour open range is down here at 979.4, ready to take some contracts off. Hits my 1 hour open range, chops up a little bit to the 25-minute open range, and then with solid red tails continues down. What also kept me in this trade was the 4 EMA, which, interestingly enough, if you had entered up here and you're not a range trader, but you just take the crossover, your EMA 5 EMA never crossed the 34, so you remove some emotion out of your trade and just write it down. But here you had a very slight crossover, but not to stay in this trade. The 5 you would want to see the crossover, the 13 and the 21, but pretty much stayed inside. And so my entry right here at about 8:04 West Coast time, 5 was under the 13, 21, and 80, which kept me in the trade as well. So looking at all 3 charts, again, 8 o'clock post hour and a half entry, breaking the 25-minute open range on momentum with market internals. I have a Heikin Ashi entry over here, a full bar closing under. This would have been my first bar that I would have taken a entry in underneath at 981 and wrote this down, taking off some contracts off at the 1 hour open range. 1 hour open range could be support, or in this instance be resistance, and could bounce back up, which it did, but kept within a little small frame here and continued down. And my third chart, which kept me in as well, was the 4 EMA, which had no signs of crossing over. So right here, selling off, and then price action up and continued on the way down. Trade management is, where do you take contracts off? That's all up to you. I don't give my advice as far as where you, it's all on how much you're willing to risk or lose. You need to always trade with a stop. You could wait till price action crosses over the EMA to get out, but I highly recommend not to do that. Take contracts off, bring your trail stop down, keep a runner on, and keep as much profit as you can in your pocket. For the rest of the day, action pretty much continued sideways. Market internals were flat, and the next action was back into the 25-minute open range until the very last 5 minutes of the day where we broke up. Again, if you're an EMA, just a simple moving average or exponential moving average, you would have been chopped up here. As you can see, we came down a little bit, sideways action, not going anywhere until broke back up inside the 25-minute open range. Throwing up a Fibonacci extension is another way of a trading style to see where price action was going to go. So if we took a low to the high, so an ABC point, you'll see that it's another tool in the toolbox. Could have gotten anywhere inside the open range if you're that trader, and wrote it up, taking off half your contracts at 986.5, and as you can see, the full move came up to 991.4 and closed out at 989.6. Again, that would have matched up nicely with the 4 EMA. You would have never taken anything in here until your 4 EMA crossed over all 3 lines. You're above the 80 EMA, and as you can see, the rest of the day really wrote it up. So 5 EMA staying above, 25-minute open range, not indicated on this chart, but if you throw up a Fibonacci extension, you have the same outcome. 1, 2, and 3. There we go. So 991.4 being the top. So nice trade underneath the 25-minute open range. Really was the trade of the day, unless you trade within the range, something that is also a tool for the toolbox. Here you can see we really kept within, as far as the daily support pivot, we just went from one range to another, coming up against pivot line a couple times and finding a little bit of resistance, daily gap. So between, we really kept between S1 and R1 here. If we look at the post 1 hour open ranges, same idea. We had a 1 hour open range, really kept within that from the red to the green, and then S1 bounced back up against the daily pivot and finished out around daily R1 here on the 1 hour open range. And then last but not least, our Camarilla lines poked above H4, would have looked for momentum there, didn't exist, came through back through the range, settled around Camarilla pivot L3 here, and came back up to the top Cam H4. So not a bad day for getting a little pop underneath the ranges, whether you traded the ES, the YM didn't have much until the very end of the day. NASDAQ coming down in the early morning session, as well as the TF, Russell for a nice jump. Market internals really in the negative for most of the day until the afternoon. And a little bit of a trade here in the morning. Find more information at tradingfibs.com, more resources, more blogs. If you've got any questions, check out the YouTube channel, social media all over. Until tomorrow, have a great day.